Starting a business as an expat, who's more likely to make money? That's going to be the topic of today's video. Okay, if you're an expat in particular or a high net worth individual and you want to invest, don't hesitate to go over to adamfire.com and see how I can help you. Now on this video, I'm going to talk about expat businesses who are more likely to succeed. Now, some things are specific to expats, but a lot of these things are also general things across the world. So first of all, I would say those people who have experience in a domain are more likely to succeed. A lot of business programs, some of which are very good, have this kind of misleading theme where it's all about the big idea or something like that. Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, very much they talk about these kind of new ideas. A lot of people think you have to have something which is kind of very unique, very different. But what's interesting is the stats show that if you've got a decent amount of experience in a domain, you're much more likely to succeed. So, you know, if you're a recruiter, you do well, then you start your own business, obviously you're more likely to succeed compared to if you're just a newbie. The same with any industry. If you want to open up a bar or a restaurant, if you've had experience in the domain, you're more likely to succeed, assuming you've been good at it before. There are exceptions, of course, and in general, I would say in more developing countries, you're more likely to succeed as an incumbent who doesn't have experience in the domain because there's less competition, assuming the developing country is on the way up. When I was in Southeast Asia many years ago, I saw, for example, in a place like Cambodia, it was much easier for people to make money compared to, say, Singapore, if they were a newbie, should I say, rather than an incumbent, people who are already in the industry. So that's one factor. Secondly, and this is increasingly important, is having an online presence which is global. If you're just in one country, if something happens to that country, you're going to get affected. So for example, if you are based in, Indonesia, and something happens to expat visas and you're targeting expats, that's going to be a big problem. But if you're global, it's more likely you're going to succeed, or at least if you're focusing on many different countries, you're more likely to succeed. But number three, you're also more likely to succeed if you're in a niche. So for example, somebody who is targeting British expats globally, for example, for British food stuff, sending British food stuff overseas, that's more likely to succeed compared to something like, somewhere which is just targeting all expats. The same thing, even if you're targeting the local market as an expat, you're more likely to succeed in a niche, especially in more developed countries. In addition to that, I would say there are also some other truisms. So for example, if you are in business, the cost side of the business is just as important as the revenue, especially early on. And a lot of people forget that. So managing risk is also very important. But I think when it comes to the expat market, there's a lot of people who want to be digital nomads, and they come out and they think it could be easy just to make money from that kind of thing. And in reality, often it isn't easy. Obviously, nothing is easy. Starting your own business is never easy. But I would say this leads to another thing, and that's that you need to be focused on one thing usually. So a lot of people come out, they'll think, I have a project here, I have a project here, I'm going to earn a bit from here, I'm going to earn a bit from here because I think it's lower risk. But in reality, if you're just focused on one project, you're much more likely to succeed than if you're focused on many projects. The funny thing is, I was watching a really interesting video between two of the Dragon's Den stars, from the UK version of Dragon's Den, and they made two interesting points. First of all, they made the point I made about if you have experience in the domain, it's usually the most important thing. But secondly, they were saying they never invest in entrepreneurs, no matter how good the idea is, if they've got, say, 2 or 3 different projects, unless they're huge. Obviously, if there's someone like Jeff Bezos or something, that's different. But if you're starting out your business career, or even you're, like most entrepreneurs, if you've got 2 or 3 projects at the same time, then you're only going to be giving 33 to 50% of your time and effort and energy to each project. So you're much less likely to succeed. And in addition to that, if you have 10 projects and you're going to give each 10% of your attention, in reality, what's going to happen is you're going to work double as hard. It reminds me of something going back to my university days. One of my university professors actually made a very interesting point. He says, if people study a double major, like, English and French, or something which is not kind of related, not something like politics and international relations, which is related, but two things which aren't related. In reality, those kind of students have to work much harder, because rather than it being 50-50, both sides will ask for maybe 70-70, so it equals 140. But I think when it comes to being an entrepreneur, if you've got 10 businesses, in reality, I think double is the minimum you're going to be working, because each side of the business is going to extract more kind of, requirements from you. So I would say if you just focused on one thing, it's better, because then you can just be completely focused on that one area. And if something goes wrong or there's new opportunities or whatever, you can pivot. Whereas if you've got 3, 5, 10 different ideas on the go, it's very easy to be unfocused, work hard but not focused, and easily give up as well, which is also the final thing. If somebody's focused, they're persistent, they work hard, they're much more likely to succeed as a business owner compared to just focusing on a new project, a new big idea. How can I help you? In 2 ways. First of all, are you an expat, a high net wealth individual, or just somebody who lives in a part of the world where it's difficult to get access to quality investment solutions? In which case, go onto my website on adamfayed.com and find out more. If you don't fit into any of those categories, then in which case there's a range of free material on my website, on this YouTube channel, and indeed on my Quora, where I get over 200 or have received over 231 million views in the last few years. And finally, if you want to actually read my thoughts in more detail, go onto Amazon and find my book on there.